Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, goes down and meets with her for the better part of 2 days, and then she gets this benefit. And I think we'll learn eventually whether this was sort of in the ordinary course of business, which I doubt. And by the way, it would take a special exemption to take a convicted sex offender and put that person in a camp. So somebody here allowed this exemption. So whether it's coincidental, I highly doubt. It certainly appears as if she's being given some benefit for what she told Todd Blanche.
Donald Trump's effort to cover up his long history with best friend Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell isn't subtle. It's happening in plain sight. In a new report by Bloomberg, we have now learned that Trump's FBI redacted his own name from the Epstein files.
Suspicious.
Not only that, but after Ghislaine Maxwell met with Trump's Deputy Attorney General, she was quietly transferred to a minimum security prison in Texas, despite being convicted of trafficking minors. But we'll get more into that mess in a moment. In March, FBI Director Kash Patel ordered roughly 1,000 agents to comb through over 100,000 Epstein-related documents over a 2-week period. They worked in 24-hour shifts, and agents were reportedly told to flag any records that mentioned Donald Trump. So now we have to ask why. Why would you need to spend that much time and effort to redact Donald Trump's name in the Epstein files if you are
the most transparent administration in history?
The answer is because Donald Trump is all over the files. Trump was Epstein's best friend. They did everything together, and they knew each of each other's dirty little secrets.
Know that these pictures exist, and I can describe them. There are about a dozen of them. The ones I specifically remember is 2 of them with topless girls of an uncertain age sitting on Trump's lap, and then Trump standing there with a stain on the front of his pants, and 3 or 4 girls kind of bent over in laughter. They're topless too, pointing at Trump's pants.
I mean, let's not forget, Trump called Epstein a terrific guy and said, he's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. But we all know how much Trump loves younger girls. I mean, he even fantasized about his own daughter, Ivanka, on multiple occasions.
Said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her, you know.
What's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
Yeah, she's really something, and what a beauty, that one. If I weren't happily married, and, you know, her father.
And even with his other daughter, Tiffany, when she was a 1-year-old baby.
Host Robin Leach asked about their daughter, Tiffany, who was then just a year old.
Now, Donna, what does Tiffany have of yours, and what does Tiffany have of Marla's?
Well, I think that she's got a lot of Marla. She's really a beautiful baby, and she's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet, but time will tell.
Ugh, gross. Trump is doing everything he can to scrub his name from everything that could tie him to Epstein, even as more documents surface and redactions point right back to Donald Trump. The creepiness isn't new, but the cover-up is getting even harder to ignore. So I want to know, what happened to the records mentioning Trump once they were flagged, and why haven't we seen them? And also, why won't he answer any questions?
Thank you, Mr. President. What did you think Epstein was stealing those women for?
Thank you, press.
But when he does answer them, he answers like this.
I'm just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women?
Were some of them
young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken, and it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad, but that story's been pretty well out there, and the answer is yes, they were.
Yes, they were young women?
What did they do? In the spa.
In the spa?
Yeah, people that work in the spa, and other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that, and then when I heard about it, I told them, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want him taking people. And he was fine, and then not too long after that, he did it again, and I said, out of here.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons, that include Virginia Jeffrey?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people, yeah. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever.
That's not just disgusting, that's dehumanizing. Trump talks about a survivor of sex trafficking like she's property. It's beyond gross. It's a slap in the face to Virginia Giuffre and her entire family. He's not deflecting. He's repeating the very mindset that let Epstein operate for decades.
She wasn't stolen. She was preyed upon at his property, at President Trump's property. And I think it's very important that we don't treat it like stolen. Seems very impersonal. It feels very much like an object, and these survivors are not objects. Women are not objects. What goes through my mind is that it's time to protect survivors, and it's time to protect the young women and our future generation of young women. So no, she wasn't stolen. She was preyed upon, and it certainly makes you kind of ask the question, how much he knew during that time, right? Even a couple of years later, even after he, I believe he had stated something along the lines of cutting off communication or kicking him out. He described Jeffrey Epstein as somebody who really enjoyed being around young women. And so she was preyed upon. She wasn't stolen. That's a predator that came and took her.
Trump loves to claim that he knew nothing about Epstein abusing and recruiting underage girls at Mar-a-Lago, his own resort, and to that I say, bullshit! Because it is. Remember, this is the same creep who bragged about grabbing women by their genitals without consent.
Hey, when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. I can do anything.
Trump says he has no idea what's in the Epstein files or what the FBI and DOJ are doing, even though Pam Bondi, the head of the DOJ, personally told him that his name was in the files. He's not out of the loop. He's at the center of the cover-up. Now, Trump claims that Epstein was a creep, except, again, these two were the best of friends, and we know Trump's claim about their timeline together doesn't add up.
And research shows from investigative reporting from the Miami Herald that Jeffrey Epstein was actually still on the Mar-a-Lago membership logs up to 2007. Okay, so Trump was still getting money from Jeffrey Epstein up till 2007. Jeffrey Epstein was still paying for his membership at Mar-a-Lago, according to the Miami Herald. And that, of course, is a year after Jeffrey Epstein's arrest in Florida in 2006. So
if he kicked him out for being a creep,
yes,
that would have even been a year after that would have been established through a legal suit.
Correct.
But I think the thing that makes this whole cover-up even more suspicious is the fact that Ghislaine Maxwell was quietly transferred to a minimum security prison.
DOJ ordinarily, I did this many, many times when I was a prosecutor, does give substantial benefits to cooperating witnesses. Now, there's a couple things that are different here. When I say benefits, usually it's a sentencing benefit. Usually DOJ will write a letter to the judge saying, this person was an effective, honest cooperator, therefore I recommend less prison time. However, when I say cooperator, Ghislaine Maxwell does not meet that definition. Cooperator means a person who has been thoroughly vetted, deemed to be credible, and somebody who DOJ has brought actual prosecutions based on their testimony. She's done none of those things. So she's already gotten a substantial benefit, yet without doing the things that you would ordinarily require of what I would consider a proper cooperating witness.
Now, getting the full story on everything related to Trump and Epstein requires checking multiple sources, which is extremely time-consuming. This is why I use Ground News, an app and website that gathers articles from across the world into one place, then gives you the context about each source's political leanings, factual reliability, and ownership, all backed by ratings from 3 independent news monitoring outlets. This lets you understand who is funding a conversation and compare reporting on the same issue in one place so you can come to your own conclusions based on all the facts. To show you how it works, let's take a look at how this story about Ghislaine Maxwell being quietly transferred to a low-security federal prison in Texas is being covered. Over 400 outlets have covered the story, with even reporting across the political spectrum. On the left, this story is framed for what it is, a suspicious cover-up. Epstein victims claim cover-up as Maxwell moved to low-security prison. But if you notice on the right, that detail is hidden from readers who just look at the headline. House panel postpones Ghislaine Maxwell deposition, says good faith negotiations continue. Notice the key context that it's missing? Ground News eases the mental load of sorting through the current media environment so you can decide where is the truth. I think Ground News is essential nowadays to see through any double standards in the current media ecosphere. If you go to ground.news/Gabe or scan the QR code, code, we're giving our viewers 40% off Ground News' top-tier Vantage plan, which will get you unlimited access to everything I've shown you and more. Ground News is subscriber funded, so they don't rely on ads that could also introduce bias. Subscribing supports our channel and their independent team working to keep the media transparent. Now, the fact that Maxwell, a convicted sex trafficker, was even transferred to a minimum security prison is insane, but it's also an insult to every one of Epstein and Maxwell's victims.
It would unwind everything that my sister and all the survivors fought for. It would be a disgrace of justice. It would be picking abusers over survivors again. And I truly believe that justice isn't finished here, but I certainly think this is a good start. And by not letting her out, it's the right thing to do.
The only reason that someone like Ghislaine Maxwell would even get a transfer to a minimum security prison is for a possible deal to grant her a pardon or clemency. And again, this is someone who is a convicted sex trafficker and helped Trump's best friend Jeffrey Epstein, one of the worst sexual predators in history, traffic children for years.
She participated. She tortured me and others. And she's worse than Jeffrey. She broke the sisterhood. She broke that bond. She was supposed to be a protector and nurturer, and she failed us. And she'll have to live with that for the rest of her life.
Epstein was Pinocchio, and she was Geppetto. She was the guy controlling
the strings.
Jeffrey. Yep, she was pulling the strings. She had his money. He had her contacts, but Ghislaine was much more conniving and smart than Epstein ever was.
I've never met a more predatory, terrifying human being in my entire life, and neither had Virginia Giuffre, and neither has Annie, or Anushka, or many girls like Shantae Davies. There's hundreds of us that were preyed upon by Ghislaine Maxwell. She's a very dangerous person, and she threatened my life on many occasions. I've had to move and be in hiding because of this predatory child predator and just victim predator. So it's completely unacceptable for anyone to call her a victim. The woman is not a victim, she's a victimizer.
And despite the fact that Trump calls Epstein a creep, he is struggling to say, no, I will not pardon Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell serving 20 years in prison for sex trafficking. Is clemency on the table for her in exchange for testimony?
I'm allowed to do it, but nobody's asked me to do it. I know nothing about it. I don't know anything about the case, but I know I have the right to do it. I have the right to give pardons. I've given pardons to people before, but nobody's even asked me to do it.
Trump's inability to say no to a pardon isn't limited to Maxwell. It also includes other predators like Diddy.
Probably, I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great, and seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well. But when I ran for office, he was very hostile.
He said some not so nice things about you, sir.
Yeah, and it's hard, like you, we're human beings.
Right.
And we don't like to have things cloud our judgment, right? But when you knew someone and you were fine, and then you run for office and he made some terrible statements. So I don't know, it's more difficult. It makes it more, I'm being honest, it makes it more difficult to do.
The fact that Trump has been unable to definitively say that he will not pardon Maxwell should tell you everything you need to know about Trump and his intentions. At the core of it, Trump is trying to satisfy his base by getting her to reveal names of people who victimize young girls, and as long as that list does not include Donald Trump's name, she gets a deal. And MAGA is already trying to defend the possibility by saying, perhaps an unpopular opinion, but if a pardon to Maxwell resulted in a couple dozen high-profile people going to prison, I would make that trade. What the f*** is going on? Are you kidding me right now? The very group who said they wanted to save the children from sex traffickers and pedophiles are now okay with a literal sex trafficker going free. Ghislaine Maxwell has a history of lying and is only willing to give up names because it benefits her, not because it's the right thing to do. If she really wanted to help the victims and put those high-profile people in prison, she would have done it already, but she hasn't because it doesn't benefit her. Kinda like how Jeffrey Epstein's best friend Donald Trump operates. You don't have something to help him, he won't help you. And unfortunately for Trump, This Epstein story isn't going away anytime soon. I mean, if anything, it's only getting more attention when Trump invites people who were arrested for statutory rape to the White House.
Lawrence, you want to say a few words? Come on up. Come on. He's a little shy, but once he gets going, nobody can stop.
Oh, no, that don't stop. I'm just proud to be on this team. I don't know why. I don't know what we're supposed to be doing, but I'm here to serve, and I'm here to serve you. Okay, so I'm going to do the best I can for as long as I can. Thank you very much.
Nobody like him.
It's almost like Trump is a magnet for sexual predators. Thanks for watching What Was That? If you want more episodes, articles, and breakdowns, go to whatwasthat.show. Join the community and become a paid subscriber today. It's just me behind the scenes, so every bit of support really makes a difference. And if you'd rather listen on the go, you can find What Was That on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your shows. Until next time, I'm Gabe Sanchez, and this has been What Was That?